The Nigerian government says it is ready to embrace an all-party cooperation in order to better the lives of its citizens. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who made this remark at the opening session of a two-day induction ceremony for new and returning governors of the 36 states held in Abuja, said that the task of nation building is beyond an individual or political party.
We are certainly so specially privileged and so enormously fortunate that our people choose us among so many millions to lead them. This tremendous privilege which leadership thrusts upon us also comes with grave responsibilities. These responsibilities are multiplied by the fact that most of our people are extremely poor. Large numbers are unable to afford good health care, and malnutrition remains a major problem. We must confront the problem, not by merely hoping that the federal government can do more, because that may not necessarily offer much hope. Our people in every state want the same things, and they suffer the same deprivations. And frankly, they don't really care who puts food on the table. Just put the food on the table. I have the president's mandate to say that the federal government stands ready to embark on this historic all-party cooperation to better the lives of all our citizens.
In his opening remark, Chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Abdulaziz Yari, stated that the induction program became imperative to equip new and returning governors with the needed tool for effectiveness.
The Governors Forum has organized the event to support the new governors in developing the essential skill for modern-day governance that will reposition them for their first campaign responsibilities. On this, we find it paramount to also invite leaders with experience on democratic governance from both within and outside the country to share with us the knowledge on the working of governance in the 21st century.
In their goodwill messages, Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika, Chairman of First Bank of Nigeria, and Bishop Hassan Kuka, Archbishop of Sokoto Diocese, emphasized the need for a value-driven leadership that will restore the lost glory of the country.
It doesn't matter what help anybody gives us. The federal government can have the most plans, the best, the greatest plans in the world. But the guys who touch my life and the life of every Nigerian every day are the governors of our states. I'm an Ibadan girl. That means my Oyo state governors are sitting there. I'm married to an Ondo man. My Odo governor is sitting there. But the most important governor to me in this room is the governor of Lagos State. Why? I live in Lagos. All my businesses are in Lagos. My life is affected every minute and every second by what he does or what he does not do. And in reality, when we talk about the equity of trust, you can only get that trust from a people who trust what you do by how you affect and impact their lives every day. Let's be honest. We do not have politics of ideology in our country so far. We have politics of people. And if you want the right people to gather and give us the critical mass that we need to build our nation, you are the next generation of leaders that can ensure that we begin to set the template and the agenda for a great nation to be great.
And I think it's important to put all this in context because Nigerians tend to think that somehow we are the only ones with problems. But like Tolstoy said, every unhappy family is unhappy differently. You know, that I think the challenges that this nation faces, a lot of them have been pretty well articulated. Except to say that first, among other things, I have 3 points that I want to speak to. The first is to ask, for those who have just been elected, what exactly are you doing now? And for those who are on their way out, what are you doing now?
Participating governors also reacted to the impact of the event.
We thank God, you know, at any point in time, our forum and the current administration is always very proactive because we want to deliver on the promises that was made to the people. So the outgoing and the incoming governors need to be inducted so that we know the challenges ahead. And it's a very wonderful one, and really appreciate the Nigerian Governors Forum and the federal government of Nigeria for this wonderful induction course.
Government is a collective responsibility. Government is a trust. And what Dr. Awoshika said, we should rediscover ourselves. Who are we? And what do we want to do? We should know that we are privileged Out of 200 million people, 74 of us have been elected as governors, as deputy governors, as president, as vice president. We must be able to deliver, to leave legacies and landmarks. We have deteriorating infrastructure and services in our states. Most of the Nigerian people live in the states, and that is why induction like this are very important. We are giving wake-up calls to our statutory responsibility, to what we have promised the people that we are going to do. We must improve education so that we can bring out the best of human capital that will take Nigeria to the next level.
The induction program, which was organized by the Nigerian Governors Forum, also had in attendance Senate President Bukola Saraki and leader of the All Progressive Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. From Abuja, I am Festus Ejiroge Nefife for Ben Television.
Protesters on Monday morning besieged the presidential Villa Gate to determine the immediate removal of the Central Bank of Nigerian Deputy Governor Dr. Joseph Nana over the corrupt activities. Nana, who is presently a board chairman at the Nigerian Export-Import Bank, NESM, is being fingered to be behind some corrupt and fraudulent activities ongoing in the bank. The protesters, under the aegis of the Awareness for Good Governance Group, said it is disheartening to note that absolute misgiving and unethical conduct of some courses breed occupying sensitive position of offices, most especially in the financial sector, which is supposed to operate on a clean slate. The convener of the group, Princess Ajibola, said they have observed with stark dismay the recent dubious engagement of one Dr. Joseph Nana, a former deputy governor, economic policies at the Central Bank of Nigeria, who was appointed barely 1 year ago to serve as the board chairman of NESM. She said, as a group, the Awareness for Good Governance platform is a formidable front vested with the sole interest of encouraging good leadership style in the public and financial sector of the economy.
Our greater concern is about what NEXIM stands for as the bedrock of Nigeria's export and import business promotion, upon which our economy is largely dependent. And should the nefarious activities of Dr. Joseph Nana continue, the serious business of fighting corruption by President Buhari will be jeopardized and Nigerians will be worse off for it. This is more so that Nigeria, as it is today and now, is globally and currently rated very high in the fight against financial crimes and corruption, and particularly so the ease of doing import and export business in Nigeria. Even though Dr. Nana is unqualified for the job, his incompetence is further glaring as he recently flouted official procedures and authorized, please listen to this and take note, and please emphasize and stress it, authorized payment of over 100 million naira as severance package to one Saratu Umar, a former staff of the bank, but who was, and please again I stress this point, who was sacked from NEXIM due to official negligence and incompetence. Furthermore, our group noted the latest scheming of Dr. Nana and his cabals by illegitimately recommending and approving mass sack of staff of the bank perceived to be opposed to his corrupt and inept practices and his corrupt-minded posture, abuse of public office, and lack of due process in his official pursuit. The ongoing mass sack, through threats and intimidation by Dr. Nana, is to allow him, his cronies and allies, mostly those who are relations of his, while he chooses to deploy scarce public funds to himself and his cronies.
She also said recently, Nana authorized payment of over 100 million naira as a civilian package for his girlfriend, one Saratu Umar, who was once a staff of the bank but was sacked due to a widely attested negligence and incompetence. Furthermore, the group noted that latest scheming of Dr. Nana and his cabal by illegitimately recommending and approving mass sack of staff of the bank perceived to oppose his corrupt-minded posture, abuse of public office, and lack of due process in his self-seeking, serving interests as a dictator without focus. According to the group, the ongoing mass sack through threat and intimidation by Nana is to allow him and his crony ally, mostly from the state of his origin, to amass illegitimate public funds at the expense of the formerly standard but now crippling organization under the watch of the corrupt strange field manner. The group called on the President Muhammadu Buhari and other relevant authority to invoke punitive measure against the newly identified advocate of corruption, Dr. Nana, before he totally infed a few good personnel remaining in the hierarchy of the Nizam Bank. The United Nations Population Fund says Nigerian population has hit a new high of 201 million. In its 2019 State of War Population Report, United Nations said Nigeria's growth rate has been at an average of 2.6% from 2010 to 2019. The fertility rate among Nigerian women has dropped from 6.4 in 2069 to 5.3 in 2019. This means an average Nigerian woman gives birth to at least 5 children. Global fertility rate, or the average number of births at women, stood at 4.8 in 1969, 2.9 in 1994, 2.5 in 2019. The report said the contraceptive prevalence rate among Nigerian women aged 15 to 49 is only 19%, adding that decision-making on sexual and reproductive rights among these women has averaged at 51% between 2007 to 2018. This means 49% of Nigerian women still do not have the power to decide on their sexual and reproductive health and reproductive rights. The UN agency estimated that Nigerian population has grown from 54.7 million in 1969 to 105.4 million in 1994 and to 201 million in 2019. Of these, 201 million, 4% or 88.44 million are between the age of 0 to 14, while 32%, 64.32, are within the age of 10 and 24. The report revealed that the productive rights are still out of reach to too many women, including the more than 200 million women who want to prevent a pregnancy but cannot access modern contraceptive information and services. Ultimately, all of the 4.3 billion people of the reproductive age around the world today will have an inadequate access to sexual and reproductive health services at some point. In 1969, world population reached 3.6 billion, up about 1 billion from only 17 years earlier, leading to the establishment of UNFPA. The UN agency has succeeded in reducing the fertility rate worldwide by 50%. Operative of Nigerian police force has arrested the suspected kidnapper and killer of the traditional ruler of Adara Chiefdom in Kaduna State, Miwada Galadima. The monarch was killed in October 2018 on his way to his palace after accompanying Governor Nasir El-Rufai to Kasuwa Mega to commiserate with the community over the violence that claimed many lives. The police said the suspect, Abubakar Ibrahim alias Dan Habu, 37 years old, and a native of Kaban in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State, confessed to the kidnapping and killing of the traditional ruler. A statement in Abuja by the first spokesman, DCP Frank Mba, also stated that the operatives arrested 17 other suspected notorious kidnappers belonging to various gangs. They recovered 22 AK-47 rifles, 5 locally fabricated pistols, and trays of live ammunition from them. Mba attributed the success made to the arrest of the spiritual father of the kidnapper and armed bandit operating in northern part of the country, Malam Salisu Abubakar. He said the police detective attached to the operation Puff Ada through a series of detailed, intensive, and sustained investigative operations successfully arrested 18 more notorious kidnappers and armed robbers at different times and places across the country. The Economic and Financial Crime Commission (EFCC) has filed a criminal charge against the Bauchi State Governor-elect Senator Bala Mohammed at the Federal High Court, Abuja. In the case, the governor-elect is charged with accepting the gratification in form of a house valued at 550 million naira from ASO Saving and Loan PLC in 2014. According to the EFCC Prosecuting Counsel, Wahab Shitu, the alleged gratification was accepted as a reward by Mohammed for performing his official duty. The offense, EFCC said, contravenes Section 18B of the Independent Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offences Act, year 2000. It is punishable under Section 18. Among the 6 count charge, the governor-elect made a false statement to an EFCC investigating officer, Ishaya Dauda, that he acquired the property through a mortgage facility from ASO Saving and Loan. Mohammed was also accused of failing to make full disclosure of his property at 54 Mike Ahibe Street, Jabi, Abuja, in course of his filing his asset declaration form at the EFCC. The commission said the offense is contrary to Section 27 of the EFCC Establishment Act. The prosecution also accused Mohammed of failing to declare a property at Angwan Sakik, Kaduna in Kaduna State. EFCC said the governor-elect made a false declaration that the property on Saitek Kwara House at AP Street, Mubarak, Abuja belonged to him. Education is the best legacy a nation can bequeath to our citizens and enable environment for them to thrive. That was the conclusion of the stakeholder at the Federal Investor of Petroleum Resources, a fund worried Delta State over the weekend during the second year convocation and award of degree to all deserving students, the management and staff of the school, which was the first of its kind in Africa and sixth in the world. The school also used the occasion to honor 2 Nigerians who has distinguished themselves and contributed so much to the education sector and other sectors of the economy. One of the 2 awardees is the billionaire lawyer, businessman and philanthropist, Honorable Ned Nwoko, who is also the chancellor of the first sport university in Africa, Star University, Udumo Ugboko, Delta State. A well-attended event, Honorable Ned, in a close remark on behalf of the awardee, thanked the institution for finding them worthy and promised a collaboration between the school and the Star University when it takes off fully in September this year, while also making donation of 20 million naira to the best 20 students who are the first class. He also said the donation will help the 20 graduate students to take off in life instead of waiting or looking for job from the government. He also encouraged all the students in the attendance to be committed and work hard to impact their generation. He was accompanied to the convocation with his delectable actress wife, Regina Daniel, and other celebrities.